Carlos Alcaraz and Jannik Sinner get a reality check as Rafael Nadal calls out what they're missing. Across 6 finals at 3 Grand Slams, 2 Masters 1000s, and the ATP Finals in Turin, Carlos Alcaraz and Jannik Sinner have ruled the tour. Sinner looked untouchable this season, losing to 2 men, Carlos and Alexander Bublik. Alcaraz, meanwhile, collected 8 titles and reached 11 finals in total. As the months rolled by, it became increasingly clear that only they could truly test each other. But is that actually good for tennis? Rafael Nadal might not think so. The 22-time Grand Slam champion, who retired last year and knows both players well, has faced Sinner and Alcaraz on court, leading those head-to-heads 3-0 and 2-1, respectively. He's seen their fire up close and now watches their dominance from the sidelines. In an interview with the radio program El Larguero on Cadena Ser, Rafa voiced concern over the lack of competition facing the 2 young stars. "I think Sinner and Alcaraz need someone to push them," he said. Fonseca? "I think he's still young and not in a position to think about that. They need someone to challenge them a bit because they've established themselves above everyone else, and in any form they can beat anyone until they face that other player." Those of us watching from the outside have the feeling that even if they play poorly, they'll keep winning and reaching every final. For Nadal, rivalries have always been the heartbeat of tennis. He's had 2 during his time on the court between Roger Federer and Novak Djokovic. Every great era was built on them. He believes strong opponents sharpen champions, keep the sport moving, and fuel its drama. Yet today, there's a striking gap between Carlos Alcaraz and Jannik Sinner and the rest of the field. But which players bring the challenge to this duo? Alexander Zverev, ranked number 3, remains their closest challenger after a string of solid results, including contention for the ATP Finals semi-finals. Still, Sinner has handled him with ease, most recently 6-4, 6-3 in Turin. Then, Novak Djokovic, now number 4, continues as a lurking veteran threat. With his selective schedule, many analysts believe his experience in best-of-3 matches could still trouble the young guns, especially at majors like the Australian Open. Below them, players like Felix Auger-Aliassime, number 5, and rising names such as Jack Draper, top 10, have flashed promise. Experts like Jim Courier named Draper and Ben Shelton as potential disruptors for 2026 if they can steady their form. Still, the points gap looms large. Right now, over 6,000 points separate number 3 from the rest, making the climb a tough one for any hopeful contender next season. So, it's going to be interesting to see what the next year brings. However, Nadal isn't alone in his concern. Carlos Alcaraz and Jannik Sinner's rivalry is under fire from an Italian legend. Adriano Panatta, the 1976 French Open champ, dropped a hot take on modern tennis in an interview on DJ Radio. Echoing Rafa's worries, he slammed the elite level for ditching the wild balance of yesteryears. Get this, back in the 70s, every top 10 guy snagged at least 1 Grand Slam. Pure chaos, anyone could topple anyone. Today? Not so much. If we look at the elite of the 70s, Panatta said, each of the top 10 won at least 1 Grand Slam. The competition was much more balanced, anyone could lose. Today, Alcaraz and Sinner can't lose anything. There weren't many surprises at the slams this year. Most assumed Alcaraz would be in the final. The Italian legend got real about his thoughts on this. Alcaraz and Sinner are very good, but today almost everyone plays the same. Bjorn Borg and Guillermo Vilas have always beaten opponents with a similar style of play. But if they played against me or John McEnroe, they would lose because we play differently. There's no such thing as a true attacker these days. To him, Novak stands as a lone wolf shaking things up. He was the only one consistently rattling Carlos and Jannik. He stormed into every Grand Slam semi-final this year and bagged his 101st tour title. Plus, he's the sole slayer of one of these top dogs at a major, defeating Alcaraz at the Australian Open quarterfinals despite sustaining a hamstring injury. Now the heat is on for the 2026 season, and the ATP Tour is under pressure. Who will bring their A-game and crash Sinner Alcaraz party at the top? Drop your hot takes in the comments.